I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. If you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.
Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Kelly. We are back with another video. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy true crime stories, news, and politics, please go ahead and smash that subscribe button, guys. We get into all of that plus more on this channel, and I would appreciate if you would subscribe, and I think you would enjoy all the content that we do here on this channel. If you are a returning listener or subscriber, well, drop it in the comments. Let me know what you think about this topic. Like the video if you like it, and thank you as always for being a friend, guys. I appreciate y'all so much, and I thank everyone who is watching this video. So, I wanted to come on here, guys. This is a story that I've heard about kind of on the peripheral in the news cycle, but once I started digging into it, I wanted to come on here and cover it because it's been talked about at all, and it's a larger sign of the troubling times that we are in right now, where you have stories like this that will get so much attention and be completely false, perpetuate a hateful and a disturbing hoax, something that will animate and activate people in a very emotional and sometimes violent way, like mass graves of children. And it'll become this huge story for about 5 seconds, and then once that has been addressed throughout all of media, once it's been spread, the lie has been implanted in people's brains, it doesn't matter after that whether or not you clear the record, whether or not you right a wrong in reporting. It doesn't matter, because most people aren't going to follow up. Most people aren't going to, get the truth once the lie has already been spread to them. So we see this all the time. And now Canada, their latest hoax has been unraveling at alarming speed, but no one seems to care or want to talk about it. So let's get into the story, guys, and I would love to know your thoughts on it. So this is from the Daily Wire. Excavation comes up empty. 0 bodies have been recovered from Canada's unmarked mass graves. So if you haven't heard of this story, well, let me tell you. A recent excavation project commissioned by a Native American leader at a Catholic church found no evidence of human remains, again casting doubt on allegations of Canada's so-called unmarked mass graves. Canada was rocked 2 years ago by reports of hundreds or even thousands of these alleged unmarked mass graves of Native American children at residential schools, which were funded by the Canadian government and run by Catholics and other Christians. So far, not a single body has been recovered. Reports from this summer indicated that there could be the remains of 60 children on the premises, and then ground-penetrating radar found 14 anomalies in the basement of Our Lady of Seven Sorrows Church, which sits beside the former Pine Creek Residential School. Like the dozen other reports before this one, the media suggested these anomaly detections were likely the bodies of children who were apparently killed or neglected to the point of death and then secretly buried in these unmarked graves. Wanting answers, Chief Derek Nepenak of Pine Creek First Nation helped commission an excavation, which started on July 24th and lasted about 4 weeks. In August, the chief announced that the team from the University of Brandon... Let's go, Brandon! Let's go, Brandon! Found no human remains. Interesting. The archaeological team we hired from the University of Brandon, which is the same archaeological team relied upon by regional police agencies when doing archaeological excavations, found no conclusive evidence of human remains in their excavation of the ground under the church basement. But doubts were cast long ago before these findings, as noted by Daily Wire reporter Ash Show. The narrative about these mass graves started to collapse as early as January 2022. For example, one of the first reports claiming to find these unmarked graves came out of Kamloops. What a funny name. What a silly, silly place Canada is. Kamloops, Canada, by archaeologist named Dr. Sarah Beaulieu. Her estimate was at first 215 children, but was later downgraded to 200 probable burials. Okay. Great. Oh, great work, Sarah. Probable what is that? It was later clarified that these anomalies just mean disruptions in the soil were found, not necessarily bodies. Moreover, critics of Beaulieu suggest the archaeologists confuse these alleged shallow graves around the school with 2,000 feet of trenches that were dug for the school's septic system. Beaulieu also cited an alleged child's tooth and rib bone from a juvenile when presenting her findings, but that tooth was found to be non-human, and there are no records of the supposed rib bone. Additionally, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, to this day, still have not excavated this area in Kamloops. So, a professor by the name of Jacques Rouliat, I think that's how you pronounce that, pushed back on the narrative, saying more excavation work needs to be done. Yeah, let's just keep digging the septic tanks up. Yeah, great. Good idea. I don't like to use the word hoax because it's too strong. Unless it is a hoax, then it's actually fitting. So, I mean, what words, right? They're hard. They're difficult. They're difficult to decipher the meaning. You know, nobody has definitions for these things. We're just all floating around all accidentally, and, you know, letters are just coming and they're forming words and we don't know what they mean. Okay. It's too strong, but there are also too many falsehoods circulating about this issue with no evidence. This has all been very dark for Canada. We need more excavation so we can know the truth. Why don't you let's just dig up the whole country, whatever. Who cares? Too much was said and decided upon before there was any proof. So Matt Walsh claimed that the narrative was pushed as a way to demonize Christians, and that is a very valid argument, because as we're going to see here shortly, this caused the destruction and the terrorism against, I mean, dozens of different churches all throughout Canada. Arson, destruction, vandalism, retaliation, all of these things over a hoax, over nothing. It was a way to demonize people. It's these tactics that are used by people in power who, you know, some of these people that go along with these things are just useful idiots. Some of them may be perpetrators of these bad faith attacks on different, you know, classes of people in different portions of society in order to separate people, in order to keep people fighting with one another. I mean, you really just have to read if you haven't read 1984 at this point, in where we're at with this country and with this world that we're living in, you have to read it, because it really is true that the regime, they want perpetual war from within, from without. I mean, they just want infighting constantly because it keeps people busy, keeps people's minds occupied, and then they can go around and grab all the power, grab all the money, grab all the whatever they want without anyone knowing what the hell's going on. So this from the National Post, who started calling residential school burial sites mass graves. So in the spring of 2021, a series of ground-penetrating radar surveys near the sites of former Indian residential schools uncovered anomalies that appeared to be consistent with children's graves. In the nationwide protest that followed, more than 60 Canadian churches were vandalized or destroyed, and statues were pulled down in virtually every major city. So, remind you of anything? I mean, they didn't have a George Floyd in Canada, so they had to find some sort of hoax or some sort of outrage porn to, you know, display all over everyone's televisions and get them all riled up to go out and destroy their very own society and their very own civilization and culture. You know, they had to do something, you know. So this is what they chose. The surveys would help spawn the creation of a new holiday, Truth and Reconciliation Day, prompt an official visit by Pope Francis and result in Canadian flags being kept at half-mast for a record-breaking 5 consecutive months. And then, just last month, an excavation at the Pine Creek Residential School determined that 14 anomalies suspected to be children's graves were actually nothing. A big old nothing burger. To date, of the hundreds of suspected graves identified starting in 2021, Pine Creek is the only one that has been followed up with an archaeological dig. So are these the supposed unmarked graves, these little poles sticking out of the ground? I mean, and so like what? Oh my God, this is such... I mean, these things have had to have been there for forever. It's like people just really do the most with the smallest little bit of anything. And I mean, why are y'all going, even if y'all did think that these were graves, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to dig them up and then what? What are you going to, I mean, it's insanity. I mean, truly, we have spiraled so far. So I want to show you guys a statement from Justin Trudeau, you know, because of course he has things to say. So let's get into that statement now.
He wanted to be absolutely sure, but they do say, yes, this is Justin Trudeau in the video. They referred to his previous apologies on wearing blackface makeup and brownface makeup as being inappropriate. They've not issued an additional apology for this video.
Okay. I think that's the wrong video. I think I played you guys the wrong clip. That was Justin Trudeau in blackface, which is one of his favorite pastimes. That's my bad. I'm sorry. Okay, let's move on. That was the wrong video. So here he is on his knees, a position that he's very familiar with, you know, paying his respects with a little teddy bear that he you insert the dollar in the machine and then the little crane comes down, and you know, he got that on his way over. You know, very, very kind, very generous of you, Justin Trudeau. But as it turns out, he fell short, as he normally does. Another very treasured pastime of his is falling short as a man. And so he came for this, you know, Truth and Reconciliation Day, but he had other plans kind of, and so he couldn't really stay that long. And so he just like, you know, sorry, I gotta go. Can't stay, gotta go. Nice to see ya. Bye. Was basically the gist of it. So he went to a related event for one of these, I don't know if you'd call it a celebration, a day of reckoning, a day of, you know, hoax shit, I guess, for lack of a better term. But so he attended one event on Wednesday, but then told people that he had private meetings in Ottawa, but it later was later to be found out, confirmed by his office, no less. How embarrassing. Your office is selling you up the river. Not surprised, actually. He had traveled to Tofina with family. So, and then his itinerary for Sunday said he remained in Tofina for personal time. But the chief gave a statement, and this is what he said. I described the Prime Minister as not having the qualities and integrity of a national leader, of an individual who holds the highest office in the land. Rather, his behavior reflects the behavior of a spoiled, petulant child of privilege, and we've been putting up with it for 6 years. And I agree. And he continued and said, I'm grateful that the Prime Minister apologized to Chief Roseanne Casimir, but I'm totally unimpressed with the political theatrics, the stonewalling that took place up to this point. Newsflash, Canada. Justin Trudeau is a piece of shit who has no balls, has no integrity, has no real opinion on anything. He's like a leaf blowing in the wind, just wherever it may take him, whatever power he can clutch onto with his ever so strong thighs that he grips together so firmly, you know, sits like a very beautiful young lady at all times. That's how he got such strong thighs, and that's how he's able to maintain his grip on power, you know, by sitting like a woman. And he sits while he pees too. So these are all things we know. So I wanted to show you guys just a couple of the videos, and I don't know if this is actually related to the mass grave situation, but I just wanted to show you all this because this is actually the proper way to deal with Justin Trudeau and people like him. So let's take a look at this video. Trump flag? flag in Canada. You know what? I love you guys. Listen, y'all are, Canada is America's hat. We need all of the good Canadian patriots, all of the truckers, all of the people who are over there holding fuck Trudeau and Trump flags. Just come seek refuge in our country. We will take you in. We're going to deport all of the people from the shithole countries that are only here to milk our system and be a burden on all of our, future children, and don't want to speak our language, don't want to integrate into our society. We're going to get rid of them, hopefully, in a very short order. And we need all of you guys to just come on down, because Canada is useless at this point. Maybe one day we can conquer that land like we were always supposed to do. And it'll be a glorious, it'll be a glorious national holiday. But until then, the guy with the Trump flag, come on over. You get citizenship automatically. Okay, we'll give it to you. I need that flag. What a loser! What a fucking loser!
A loser! Let's go, Ace. Loser. Let me get her.
I mean, if I've ever seen a punchable face, it's this one right here. I mean, when it's not covered in black paint, then, and that's rare. I mean, it's rare to see Justin Trudeau in his natural form. He loves blackface so much. But this is how you gotta treat him,
You're a criminal!
He's a criminal. You're right, sir. Oh! Okay, well, this man right here, he also gets citizenship. Yes, you, sir, you can come right on over as well.
You're a piece of shit criminal! You're a criminal!
And him just, coping, the amount of copium that is, coursing through his veins right now. If he was a real man, he would look this man in the face and address him. It doesn't matter if he's yelling and you're scared. You might be peeing in your diaper pants right now. Why don't you just address him and say, look, sir, I see that you're angry. Or even just look him in the eye if you don't want to sit there and talk to him. He's a coward. He's a piece of shit.
Such a big
All these women. It's only women that like him, I guess, over there. And what's up with these vests? They're Secret Service or whatever. Nice outfits, guys. Real nice. Casual Friday or what? What's going on? Y'all gonna play a round of golf? 18 holes after this? What the fuck? So you guys, you'll get it. This is how you treat him. This is how it's done, people. We treat Justin Trudeau like this, okay? And this is just how we do it. So here's another statement that this fuckwad made. I guess we'll watch it. Look at this loot. Oh my god, he's probably the worst of all of the foreign leaders of other countries. I'm trying to think. I'm really trying to think of all the ones that I'm familiar with. Yeah, he's the worst. He's the worst. He's the worst. Yep, I hate him.
Make it clear that we expect the church to take up and step up and take responsibility for its role in this and be there to help in the grieving and the healing, including with records that is necessary. It's something we are all still waiting for the Catholic Church to do.
We'll keep waiting, you little pussy. 1831. 1831. Wait, I'm sorry. What were the years? Between 1831 not even just 100 years ago. We're talking about atrocities 200 years old, okay? Ridiculous. And you want people to apologize that had nothing to do with this? Get a fucking grip. Get a grip. Same thing with slavery. Same thing with the Holocaust, okay? If I wasn't there doing the wrong, you don't even look at me anymore. I don't want to even hear it, okay? Go in the other room to talk about it. I mean, it's ridiculous to try to make people pay for sins of their ancestors. It's demonic. It's absolutely ludicrous, and I don't go for it ever. So, last thing we'll look at is all of the different churches. And like I said, the real world consequences were swift when this hoax was perpetuated, and this is the effect of trying to litigate all of these issues 200 years later and cause outrage amongst people who you're able to start up with emotional arguments and emotional language that's not even true. Well, they go out and they burn shit down, namely churches, Catholic churches.
Well, it's not getting a lot of attention in this country because we don't give Canada any attention at all, but all of a sudden Canada looks a lot like the Soviet Union. Seem like we're exaggerating a little bit? Well, they're burning Catholic and Anglican churches in recent days. Leftist groups are. But Canada's leaders aren't condemning the burning of churches. No, they're endorsing the burning of churches.
Oh, wow.
The head of the British Columbia Civil Liberties Association,
No
a
way.
monster called Harsha Walia, tweeted this, quote, "Burn it all down."
Oh my God, ma'am.
Then a close confidant of the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, a man called Gerald Butts, called the arson, and we're quoting now,
Gerald Butts? You just need to not say anything, okay? Go talk to your parents about that.
understandable. A woman called Heidi Matthews, meanwhile, of Harvard Law School, described the attacks as, quote, the right of resistance to systemic injustice. Burning churches. Now. This is not the Spanish Civil War. This is now in Canada. And not just churches. Rioters just tore down the statue of Queen Victoria in Winnipeg on Canada Day.
Wow.
No pride in genocide.
No pride in genocide. Look at this. Wow. No respect. Just disgraceful human beings.
Bye.
Wow.
Now, we'd love to go inside
Shit all
Canada
over
tonight, but we
your
can't
own
get there. It's like 1985 Albania. It's a closed country.
Hello.
So instead, we're speaking by satellite tonight to Ezra Levant with Rebel Media within Canada. He joins us now. Ezra, thanks so much for doing the show. What is going on in Canada? Serious. I mean, it's hard to believe what's happening in Canada. What is this?
Oh my God.
Well, I'm reluctant to use the word Kristallnacht because we're not there yet. That was the night of the broken glass in pre-Holocaust Germany,
Here we go,
where they
the Holocaust.
smashed and
Jesus
burned
Lord.
and killed Jewish synagogues. It was
Okay.
a precursor
Anyways.
to the Holocaust. Obviously, we are not that far gone yet. But what do you call it when literally dozens of churches are being systematically vandalized, torched? There was one fire in the BC interior that wiped out a whole village of 250 people, 2 people dead, and it is not yet determined who caused it, but it was in an area where other churches have been torched, so it may actually have its first victims. The crazy thing is this is so explicitly
Sick.
an anti-church hate crime wave, and yet Justin Trudeau, who is normally the first and the wokest, waited a week before saying anything, and he literally said, that's not the way to go. That was
Wow.
as tough as he got.
Wow. He's too busy slathering black face paint onto his body and, twirling around in a tutu in his living room.
Introduced an anti-hate crimes bill in Parliament that's targeting mean tweets and Facebook posts. But literally you have church after church being torched by Antifa-style terrorists, and he's almost silent on the matter, and his right-hand
He is a
man finds it
terrorist.
understandable. I think these are dark days for religious freedom in Canada.
Yeah, when they're burning churches and the head of the BC Civil Rights Commission says, burn it all down? I mean, that person sounds like a dangerous lunatic. Who is that? What is going on?
And she hasn't been sacked. That was over a week ago that she said it. In fact, various board members of her Civil Liberties Association have supported her. By the way, these churches often have Aboriginal, Indigenous congregants, and they're saying, don't burn our churches down. It's the Canadian equivalent of when Black Lives Matter burns down Black-owned businesses in Black neighborhoods. That does not help Black people. In Canada, most of these churches are Aboriginal focused, and you often have, in one case, white Antifa-style vandals filming themselves desecrating a church. And the trouble is, from the very top, it's either silent.
So, is what you're saying that it would be better if these terrorists would go and burn down the white Catholic churches, right? I hate this type of language. I'm so sick of it also. This, like, pandering, this virtue signaling that conservatives sometimes do, or people that just try to be, like, centrist, or, like, go down the middle and just try to be whatever. It's like, you know, this is really bad. This is horrible. And what's even more horrible is that these are Indigenous churches, like Indigenous people. They go to these churches. It's just like Black Lives Matter people burning down Black-owned businesses. They'd be better suited going and burning down white businesses or going and burning down white churches. It's like, is that what you're trying to say? Because, you know, you're a little off with the messaging, and I'm sick of that message. I'm sick of this rhetoric. Like, can we just not condemn all of it? Doesn't matter who it's affecting, what color their skin is, what class they're in. If people are burning down churches, we can't just agree across the board. That's awful, and that's horrific and should not be allowed in a polite and civilized society. We have to tie it back somehow to the Indigenous or Blacks or anybody but whites. I mean, the moral of the story is, go burn down a white Catholic church and nobody's gonna bat a fucking eyelash at you. I mean, I'm just sick of it. I really am. I mean, it's like, this is why. Like, I'm so over both sides. It's like, you got to pick and choose the people that are good and who have a good message and just go with them, because, I mean, it's all become one big blob at this point. So, long story short, this is a map of 83 churches that have been vandalized or burned since the residential school's announcement. So, 83 Christian churches have been vandalized, burned down, or desecrated since the announcement of an apparent discovery of graves found near residential school in Kamloops, BC. So, found, they're using that word very liberally because they didn't find anything. They used some weird radar technology that says that there's disturbances or something underground, but it's not an actual body. There's been no bodies found whatsoever. So here's a map of all the different churches. Great work, Canada. Y'all are quite literally doing the work of the devil, okay? So all throughout Canada, there's been all of these different churches that were either completely destroyed, burned down, vandalized, or desecrated. Literally all throughout Canada, up high, all the way close to our border and all throughout. So, and then this is the list of all of the different ones. I will post this in the description if you guys want to read further. Absolutely disgraceful and just a stain on Canada. Another reason to just go ahead and overtake them. Let's make them the 51st state, shall we? What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments, guys. Like the video if you liked it. I would love to know your thoughts on this story because I think it's absolutely outrageous. And it is another good example of how we are ruining our culture, our societies, and ourselves with all of this silly rhetoric, all of these fake news stories, all of this progressive bullshit where people are just dying to find a cause. They have no meaning in their life, so they have to grasp onto something to make their lives somewhat manageable or meaningful. And it's a cope, and it's just not working. It's self-destruction at its finest. Okay, so y'all let me know what your thoughts are, guys. I'd love to hear them. I really do enjoy all of your comments. Anytime that you guys contribute, I appreciate it so much. So, yeah, guys, it's a mess out here. But until next time, y'all take it easy. I'll see y'all later. Bye.
I just tell the truth, and telling the truth is crazy in a world full of lies. If you mix brilliance with bravery, that we can ignite something. Even this conversation alone can ignite the people.
The time is now to express and for people to believe in themselves. The time is now for it to be okay to be great. People in this world shun people for being great, for being a bright color, for standing out. But the time is now to be okay to be the greatest you.